You know, it's bad enough that sitting where I am right now, my congressman in the U.S. Congress is Matt Gaetz. My senators are Marco Rubio and Rick Scott. But hey, maybe at least I got a good state house representative, right? Well, no. My state house representative is a man by the name of Alex Andrade. And Mr. Andrade recently, this week, put forward a piece of legislation in the Florida State House that would loosen slander, libel, and defamation laws here in the state. And the critics of this piece of legislation, of which there are many, all seem to be laboring under the same belief that this was done solely so that Ron DeSantis and Republicans in that state legislature could more easily sue their critics. So 2 weeks ago, Ron DeSantis holds his little round table where they all talk about how horrible our slander and libel laws are here in the United States. They talk about that 1960s New York Times Supreme Court case that kind of raised the bar for what you have to prove to sue an organization for libel. And they just whined and whined and whined about how it's so hard to sue these people when they say mean things about you. So, after that happened, apparently my state rep, Alex Andrade, got to work drafting up a piece of legislation to appease our authoritarian governor, Ron DeSantis, and came up with this legislation that legal experts already say is 100% unconstitutional, which is shocking because Mr. Andrade did in fact go to law school, so he should know that. But nevertheless, he's put it forward, and what it does specifically is it weakens, or actually strengthens, the threshold for somebody to be considered a public figure. Basically, being a public figure is what that New York Times Supreme Court case back from the 60s said. Once you're a public figure, it's kind of open season. They're trying to change the definition of what a public figure is here in the state of Florida. It says, quote, a person does not qualify as a public figure if their fame or notoriety arises solely from defending themselves against an accusation, granting an interview on a specific topic, public employment other than elected office or appointment by an elected official, or a video, an image, or a statement uploaded on the internet that has reached a broad audience. So even if you're known publicly, which is what would make you a public figure, you're not actually a public figure. What this does is it protects CEOs. It protects corporations. They're disguising it as this piece of legislation. Oh, it's going to help the little guy. How many little guys do you know out there that are getting attacked in the media? The answer is none. But if you take an obscure CEO of a massive corporation, maybe nobody knows their name, you do an attack piece on them, and they get their feelings hurt, they wouldn't be able to sue because as CEO of a major multinational corporation, they would be considered a public figure. Under the Florida bill, they would not. Now, as I mentioned, legal experts have already said this is 100% unconstitutional because you can't have a state law that gives less protection than the federal law, which of course is the First Amendment. But the real goal of this is not necessarily just to weaken the laws to allow DeSantis and his buddies to sue their critics. They also want to challenge this all the way to the Supreme Court to overturn that 1960s New York Times case. Be careful what you wish for, idiots, because it's not your critics that are out there defaming people. It's actually conservative media. So if you go through with this idiotic piece of legislation, and honest to God, kind of hope you do realize that that opens the door for every single one of these little conservative media outlets out there, all of these conservative groups who put on these big speeches. You realize every single one of them will be liable, legally liable, for every lie that they tell from now on, forever. Many of them have even moved down here and had their headquarters in Florida, so that would fall under this new law you've got. So be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, and I don't think you're going to like it.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.